It's been a tough few years for the world, not just economically, but also just mentally. These lockdowns and inflation have affected the world in ways that a lot of us wouldn't have expected. Being a young person, you just don't really know exactly what's going to happen because of a lockdown. I remember it happened in my last year of high school, and I was sort of excited almost a little bit for it. But at the start, because I just thought it'd be like, a few weeks off school. You just sit home and just do whatever you want. Just typical teenager lazy like mentality. But over the course of since 2020, we've seen like the actual effects, and now dealing with the economical effects. Not there not being jobs. Everything's becoming super expensive, and now you're sort of looking back and like, fuck, the lockdown was a horrendous thing for the economy and for the world. But this is not a video all for doom and gloom. This is not just a depressing kind of video. This is more looking towards the future and thinking positively for the future, and how the world is sort of looking in a better place, or at least I feel like the world is looking towards a better place. I know there'll be people that will disagree with me, and I don't want to stir up people too much. We need to, as people, we need to sort of be able to sit back and actually have conversations with people with opposing viewpoints and talk about things to be able to come to an ultimate conclusion, because no one's perfectly right. No one really hits all the boxes. No political party, no specific person hits everything. They all have their own flaws. Everything has their own flaws and benefits to their own systems. But I'm just going to discuss from my point of view, and if anyone disagrees, you can post in the comments, and I'll respond to what you're saying. I like to hear anyone out if they've got any sort of viewpoint. But the reason why I'm saying this is because I think now that the first thing I'm going to talk about is Donald Trump being president of the United States, and now a lot of people do not like that. I've seen a lot of backlash, but he was voted in by a majority and by quite a significant amount. People wanted him in over Kamala Harris, which I agree with. I wouldn't say I'm heavily deep into politics or anything, but I have a gist of sort of what they do. And having Donald Trump, I think, is good for world safety. I think it's good for the economy. And I think those two things are pretty much important for all sort of aspects of life, and they sort of branch out to affect sort of each individual little idea. I know the woke LGBT community won't agree with this at all, and I just want to say, like, I think that people need to step back and not just see things from just such a small aspect. Donald Trump may not be a likable person. He may have done and said inappropriate things in the past, but as a president for the United States, which affects the whole world. I'm from New Zealand. I'm not making this like as an American saying like this is, like as a typical American being like, oh, America is everything. But the American president affects the whole world. World War III could start purely because of whoever's in power in America. We saw since Joe Biden was in, the wars in the Middle East and the war in Ukraine have started while Joe Biden has been president. That it's clear that they view the United States as a weak country with that sort of president in power. And I would have seen the same thing with Kamala Harris. I just don't like their approach in terms of how they communicate with other countries and how they put their foot down. And I think Donald Trump would be a greater person. But anyway, I don't want to just purely make this all political, but I'm just saying in terms of for the economy and safety of the world, it's looking good. I believe that it's looking good for our future. This is going to set up life for the next decade, hopefully, and hopefully this can maybe improve the economy and things will go around. You see the stock market already has taken a massive increase before he's even in office. So for anyone out there, I would say buy stocks now, because everything's going to go up, man. I feel like the economy is going to go crazy, and I'm going to reflect on this over the years, make videos about it, talk about it, see how everything's going. I've got quite a bit of coin in the stock market. I have a lot of different, I have Tesla, Microsoft, a lot of big companies. Air New Zealand, which is the worst stock I've ever bought. Don't buy Air New Zealand, that's a tip from me. But yeah, aside from that, another thing I wanted to talk about that sort of is helping the world is that I feel like a lot of men are becoming more masculine these days. I think it's becoming more common for guys to become more masculine, and I know a lot of people for some reason see being masculine as a negative thing, which it's not. There's a lot of this toxic masculinity sort of stuff, and I agree there is a certain aspect of that in the world, but I think men that are not masculine, it's almost more dangerous than toxic masculinity. It's almost more dangerous, and I think men being masculine is important. That's how our world has been founded, upon masculine men who go and provide, men who, this is what I mean by masculine, men who will go out there and provide for their family, and they take their family's priorities over themselves. Like for me, as I look forward to my future, all of it in my head is surrounded by the fact that I want to have a family and I want to do this for my family. I'm not doing it for myself. I don't want to be wealthy for myself just to sit there with my nice car, my nice house, and enjoy it by myself. I want to have a family that can enjoy the house, enjoy the security, enjoy the freedom, my freedom to have time to spend with them. That's super important for life. For me, that's how I view life. I view life as building a family and having amazing children that love you and that you're able to give them the opportunity to do what they want to do in life, And I think if men in society all become more masculine, we're going to see these guys, a big generation of people are going to work, and they're going to be the backbone of society, building, the world. And there can be obviously women too, women who want to build, who want to work on society, and develop everything. I'm just generally saying in terms of like a lot of construction, a lot of farming is generally men. You'll see, go search up the statistics. I don't have any of that off the top of my head, but it's a large percentage, a very large percentage, and this is important to making life better for the world, making the economy better, having more accessible food, cheaper food, and I think that's why it'll totally benefit society. And the next thing I want to talk about is cancel culture. I think cancel culture is a horrible thing. It's just been appalling. It's why a lot of people don't even really express their views online. This is sort of what has created this echo chamber where it's all about being politically correct and being woke and being on the side, being on the right side of the argument. People are just afraid to say what they want to say. I think free speech should be more welcomed in the world, and cancel culture does not support that. Cancelling people for the littlest things. People say one incorrect little thing that everybody else talks about in their home, and cancelling someone's whole life just for that is just absolutely ridiculous. The way that the internet has evolved around that is horrendous. It's not good for people. It's not good for society. And I think for a society as a whole, we will benefit by removing cancel culture. Cancelling cancel culture. I saw Elon Musk put on Twitter the other day talking about cancel culture is officially cancelled, which I agree with. He's another questionable character from people's point of views, but I think he says some good things. He is helpful for society. And the next thing I want to talk about is youth being more productive. And I know that's going to be that's a topic that a lot of people would be like, I'm not sure about that. I don't, as a whole, it's hard to say because I don't see enough people, but from what I see online and from what I'm seeing in person, is I'm seeing a lot more productive people these days. A lot of people who don't want to sit around not working. They're happy to get their hands in there, do what they want to do and do what they need to do. And a lot of people actually these days, they're not getting involved in it so much as drugs and drinking. There are a lot of vaping. There's a lot of vaping, but I think vaping is a lot better for society than drinking and drugs like consistently all the time. And I think that's why overall, I think we are seeing an increase in people being more productive. And I think social media is actually somewhat helping in this. Social media almost drives me to be more productive sometimes, because sometimes I'll just be sitting in my room being like a little bit lazy, and then I'll see some young person online that's doing this, and I'll be like, wait, I need to get up and I need to do something. I need to be more productive. These people are out here grinding, they're building their dream life, and I'm not doing that in certain situations, and that's what can help you fuel you to keep going, and build it a bit harder. And I think that as a whole, if we all get around this and we all start being productive and we put this all over social media, maybe we're just going to build this world where everyone's just seeing everyone being productive and everyone is just sort of competing against each other. And I think that would be amazing and healthy for society, and I think overall that would be a great thing. And I think another thing is a lot of people just, they want to have a good life, and this is another thing about social media, is that they're seeing people with these amazing lives. I see these people with, their lives look amazing. I know it's social media and it's not, nobody's life is perfect. Even Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, you know, they have their own issues and their own problems in life, and you often get stuck in this like mindset where you just want more and more and more, and you're never fulfilled. And that's why you definitely need to sit back and be like, alright, this is what I've got, I need to sort of enjoy what I've got, and you know, enjoy life more. And I think that social media can help in that aspect. I think social media is one of those things where it can be deemed as very negative most of the time, but I think there are positives to social media, and I think that it can be good for society if we use it the right way. And I think a few things that, aside from all these positives that I'm talking about, looking forward to the world, looking for the future of the world, things that we need as a society to sort of get rid of is, I think doom scrolling is a bigger problem than a lot of people see. Just scrolling, like my brother, my little 10-year-old brother, he's even on YouTube Shorts. He'll just be sitting there like a zombie. I swear to God, it makes people like a zombie. It's not good for society. It destroys your dopamine. You cannot enjoy things as well. You get headaches. You don't feel good, and it just consumes so much of your time. And time is a very important thing in life. You need to use your time efficiently. Don't waste your time. These free days where you're like, oh, I can just chill, unless that's what you want to do. If you just don't have an idea of what you want to do, just get out there and do something, because your time is so important, and I think people just waste it too much when they're young. I don't want to be 40 or 50 and then look back on my 20s and say, why didn't I use my time more efficiently? You know, you got to get out there and do that. And I think the end thing I want to say is just, people need to be more open to conversations. People need to be more open-minded. People need to be able to talk freely in this world and express themselves how they want to talk. And I think if we're all just more open with each other, and we don't get so angry, and we don't, when someone has an argument against you, instead of like just closing your ears and not listening to it, how about you listen to it and you actually think of the positives and negatives, and you give your own input. And if we all work together and we all give our own inputs, and we can eventually maybe come to a conclusion where that benefits everyone. And I think that if everybody does this, we'll have a better society. So if you're listening, go out there, try to be more positive, don't be so negative about things, and do something good for the world. Thank you for listening.